Hey everybody, it is Tuesday night Ask the Therapist Live, and I am joining you from a rainy Pittsburgh. We are getting some serious rain, but I just wanted to pop in and say hello. It's been a few weeks, and I am excited to see you. I'm excited to see each and every one of you because it has been such a long time, hasn't it? So let's make sure we invite our friends, reach out and invite our friends. Let me go ahead and tag a few of mine that I know appreciate it and like to be here. And I want you to share it out as well. So we can touch base with some of our friends. It has been a couple of weeks. How have you been? How has life treated you? Have you been in a good place? Have you struggled? What are some of the accomplishments that you've had over the last few weeks? I do apologize that I've not been around much. It's been busy, but I also wasn't feeling well, and that always makes it hard too, right? Whenever you're not feeling well. And I am reminded every once in a while that I need to kind of take care of myself. I don't always like to do that, right? My preference is to be serving and to be giving back, but every once in a while I have to take care of myself. So last week I just was a little under the weather and not feeling well, and instead of pushing it, I decided that I would take a break. So, and on that break, you see, I got my bangs back. I got my bangs back, right? I told all of Facebook that I got my hair cut and I got my bangs back. I am so thrilled. Something so little like that makes such a difference in my life. I don't know about you, but you know, if your hair just isn't feeling right, sometimes you feel a little off, right? So it is great to see you, Sherry. Welcome, welcome. I see a bunch of people coming in. And Sage, hey Sage, yes, reach out 831. Thank you. Reach out 831. So make sure you put that link, Sage, so that if everybody wants to or needs to go to reach 831, they can. So make sure you include that link, Sage. I appreciate that. Yes, Paula, we are getting some nasty storms too. So some of you are parents. You can see I've got my casual I-Rise shirt on and I am wearing my flannel. It is so nice and cozy. I got it at American Eagle and it was not expensive and it's really super soft. So I love being in this. I love being in my flannel. So even on a night like this, where I am live, my flannel is totally in. So yes, the nasty storms, what I was gonna say. Can you hear Paisley? She is making so much noise. Paisley, come say hello. Nope, you're gonna run. Okay, so my daughter called me and said, hey, look, there's a break in the action for about 20 minutes. Do you think that I should try to come home from work or do you think I should wait? And I said to her, it's a break in the action. Take a deep breath and go ahead and start. And if it gets bad, then I want you to pull over. But otherwise, I really want you to use your judgment. So as parents, what do you think? What would you have done? Would you have told your child, stay put, I'm coming to get you? Would you have done as I did and said, go ahead and get started out and then let's see how it goes? How would you have handled it? Would you have not let her go to work at all, knowing that we were under a storm advisory and tornado watch until it was 11 o'clock? What would you have done? I really believe in parenting that we must give our kids just enough so they experience life and learn to make their own judgments about things like when is it safe to drive and to check in with us, but to guide them through that. If I say to my daughter, sorry, I'm going to come get you, then she doesn't have that opportunity. She doesn't have that opportunity to really learn and grow, does she? Oh, say hello, Paisley. So Paisley has been sleeping all day long. She's been sleeping all day long because she had some shots and now she's like a little nut. Say hi, Paisley. She's like a little nut. So regardless, as a parent, what would you have done? So we were saying prayers that Maddie gets home safely. And if not, I told her to call her stepdad. I said, call Tom if there's an issue because I am live. So, hey, Nathaniel, it is great to see you. Yes, I am so glad we are back together again, too. I love this time together. I love connecting with everybody and supporting everybody. So thank you. Thank you, Nathaniel. It is great to see you. Sherry, you said you're going to be in town. Great. I will check my calendar and I will let you know. I would love to see you. I think I'm going to be around, so I think we'll be good. Same as you did. Yep, Denise, I am not surprised that you actually decided to do that. That does not surprise me. You are the same type of parent as I am. You know, we want our kids to grow. We want them to spread their wings. Sometimes it makes us a little nervous, but it's really important. Sometimes I've let her drive into the city. You know, my mom said, why are you letting those children drive downtown into Pittsburgh? You know, they're only 16 and 17. I said, well, how are they going to learn? You know, by me driving them down there? You know, yes, I get a couple nightmare stories every once in a while that make me cringe about, you know, missing turns, going down the wrong road, but that's how they figure it out, right? And they have enough common sense that if it's not safe, they'll make a phone call. But outside of that, I love watching them learn and grow in ways that when they leave the house, they're going to need to have that information. Yes, Paula, I would have driven my daughter there just because her experience driving in bad weather is limited. Yeah, I don't actually think Madeline has driven in bad weather at all. But I don't know how she'll expand that unless she does it. So for me, driving her there would have prevented her from gaining more experience, right? And so for me, I think it's really important that the kids get that experience. And if they start to feel unsafe, they reach out. Sage, thank you so much. Everyone, please follow Reach Out 831 on Facebook and Instagram. We are an NPO focused in promoting mental health awareness in the Pittsburgh area. Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate that. That is awesome. Thank you. So go follow Reach Out 831. So what are your questions? This is Ask the Therapist Live, where you have the opportunity to ask a question to me, where you have the opportunity to ask anything, whether it's in life, parenting, marriage, sex, career, whatever it is. What is on your mind tonight? What questions do you have for me? Now, it's been a few weeks, so I know you've got some questions. I do have a list myself in case you don't, but I do have quite a few. So let's see what's going on in social media. All right. So we're going to start off easy tonight, right? Somebody asks, how do I lower my levels of stress? So stress can be overwhelming, and stress can be good or bad, right? How many of us have experienced a positive stress that actually promotes us to get more done, for us to really hone in on getting tasks done or the ability to overcome something that's painful for us, right? So stress can be very good. However, there are times when stress is negative. And when stress is negative, what are some of the physical symptoms that you feel? Let's make sure we're all on the same page. What are some of the physical symptoms you feel when stress begins to elevate? People like me don't even notice stress is happening until it's at the tipping point, right? So it took me a long time to know what are my symptoms of feeling negatively stressed before it's too late, right? And for me, too late is when I have to take off work or I'm not functioning properly, right? So what are some of your symptoms? So the typical symptoms of someone who is stressed may be levels of anxiety, some depression, irritability. That's a really big one for me. When I am stressed, I'm highly irritable. Ask Paula. Migraines. Yes, migraines can be just debilitating as a result of stress. Eating too much, procrastinating, absolutely. Avoiding procrastinating is a big one for me too, Denise. Thank you. What are some other symptoms you experience? I experience some lower back pain, oftentimes, or I tend to not want to eat. You know, if my day is full and I'm moving through it so quickly, I'll realize that I actually skipped lunch because I did not give myself that downtime. Another symptom of stress is the inability to sleep, right? Or the converse, sleeping too much. You know, oftentimes if I'm stressed, whether it's positive stress or negative stress, I don't sleep very well. If I'm really excited about something, I don't sleep very well. Or if I'm worried about things like money, I tend to lose sleep. Paula, sometimes your asthma may trigger. Yes, that's interesting. I hadn't thought of that one, perhaps because I don't struggle with that. You carry your stress in your neck and your shoulders. Yes, many of us in the neck and the shoulders, right? So we just gave a great list of things that are some of our symptoms if we are stressed. So when we are stressed, what do? The first thing I want you to do is recognize those symptoms. Once we recognize those symptoms, then we can anticipate without it getting really bad. 2, looking at being proactive. If you know me and you worked with me before, I am all about being proactive. It's important to me that on a daily basis that you're taking care of yourself instead of waiting until it's at a point where you just break down. So taking care of yourself in the general ways, such as 6 to 8 hours of sleep, having high protein meals, staying well hydrated, being able to exercise 10 to 15 minutes a day, even if it means parking your car further away or using the steps versus the elevator. It could be just minimal things like that. To be able to take care of yourself, making sure you are eating your meals. It's easy to skip meals, like I said, or you overeat. That too can really create additional stress, right? So once you've identified the stress, we're doing these routine things each and every day to mitigate stress and keep it low. Let's say the stress gets above and beyond where we like it to be. How do we bring it back down? Some easy, simple ways are ways that you like to play. So think about it. When you like to play, where do you like to go? What do you like to do? For me, I love walking in the woods. I love to take those deep breaths. I love to listen to praise and worship music. I love to spend time in prayer, to write, to journal. So thinking about how can you de-stress? 1 is being proactive. 2, what do you like to do for play? What do you like to do for fun? Spend time with family members, whatever that is. Yes, Nathaniel, you said you were the same way about forgetting to eat or sleep. Yeah, it's been a long time since I forgot to sleep, so I'm sure that stress levels have to be really high if you come to a point where you forget to sleep, right? That's just pure like powering through life. Especially on night shift. I notice that a lot of times people who are on night shift often will come home and work like crazy and neglect to sleep in order to prepare for the next evening for the night shift. So managing your stress is really important. Oh, just by the way, I just got a message, my daughter's home. So we're good. She was able to navigate the rain and she learned some valuable lessons on the way on how to take her time. She also informed me that she forgot to wear her contact. So, you got to be able to see. It's really important when we're driving. Chances are she's not going to forget that contact next time, or she'll definitely wear her glasses. I don't freak out about the contact, just so you know. I'm not like some crazy negligent parent because her one eye is 20/20 and her bad eye is almost blind. So she's got that 20/20 vision that would have allowed her to get home safely. No worries, I'm not some crazy parent. So yes, lowering your stress, follow your routine, find ways to play, and take care of yourself. Make sure you take care of yourself. Looking at your expectations, making sure your expectations are realistic, and not overworking yourself. Those things are important. I am really bad at that. I have been taking on project after project after project. Many of you see that, right? You think, oh my gosh, there she goes again. She's doing something else. Oh my goodness, she's doing something else. And for a long time, I couldn't figure out, why am I doing so much? Like, why? Part of me thought perhaps it's finances. Why do you fill your schedule overwhelmingly? Why do you take on more than you can truly complete, right? Why don't you say no? My husband asked me that tonight. He said, why don't you just say no? So after the last few weeks I've had as a member of the Hero Club, remember I went away, I went to New York and really spent a lot of time thinking about that. And I want you to think about that this week. Whenever your schedule is overflowing or you're struggling to say no, what is that about? If you're an entrepreneur like myself, are you a serial entrepreneur? And if so, why? Really challenge yourself and see what is the benefit for never saying no, for overpacking your schedule, for starting multiple projects. What is the benefit for you? What is the motivation for you? If there's no benefit, then what's going on? I want you to take some time to figure that out. For me, what I really dug in deep and realized that one of the reasons is fear of finances, fear of not having enough income to cover my bills. So I will create another project thinking that I will somehow generate enough income to be able to pay the bills, right? On these quick business, they're not schemes, but quick business ventures. How about that? But when I dug in really deep, yes, money can be a motivator for me. What about for you? But for me, ultimately, it was this fear of failing at what I truly want to do. What I truly want to do is be able to speak professionally full time and speak about suicide prevention and awareness, psychological healthcare in the workforce. I want to do this full time, and I have created multiple jobs to avoid speaking professionally full time out of fear that I wouldn't be able to do it. So for me, that's why I keep a very busy schedule. So what about you? What has kept you distracted or kept you from accomplishing that ultimate goal that you wanted in life? What gets in the way for you? Is it fear of failure? Fear of success? Perhaps you don't know the right people or resources. What is it? I want you to think about that ultimate goal that you want in life. What is your legacy? What makes you feel amazing inside? And what has kept you from pursuing it? Is there a way, or let's find a way, that we can together begin to pursue that goal, eradicating all excuses and ridding yourself of all fear so that you can? You are motivated. Shannon says, I am motivated by contribution, yet in my grief, I've kept myself away from others who I can contribute to. Yes, you are driven and motivated by contribution, by giving. What we know about contributing is it can be, although rewarding, it can be still very draining. Those of us who are chronic givers, right? We need to be careful and not to deplete ourselves. Whenever we are grieving the loss of a loved one, particularly a child, Shannon, like you are, it is extremely draining to grieve. And just the thought of giving another ounce of yourself can be overwhelming. It's important that you work through the grieving process very naturally. It's your journey, nobody else's. Nobody's to tell you how it is to be before you're able to really give back and contribute. So it makes sense to me why grief would cause you to pull back some, because although we love to give and we love to contribute, it is very draining, especially when we don't have the ability to take a step back and care for ourselves, right? So I believe, Shannon, that as you continue to heal, one day you will be contributing at the level you were. But I am going to challenge you with this, because I am friends with you on Facebook and I have followed your journey and your loss of your daughter and pray for you on a regular basis. I'm going to challenge you and say you're contributing in ways that perhaps you don't even know. When you post your grief and you share how you're feeling about the loss of your daughter, you are really just giving a gift to so many people who are lost and struggling too with the loss of a child or the loss of a loved one. You are giving a piece of yourself so vulnerably each and every time, Shannon. And to me, the level you're contributing to our society, to our world, to others is exponential. It's not even measurable at this point. I get it's not how you typically It's not how you typically would contribute, Shannon, but God has called you into this place of being able to be open in your grieving, right? Being able to share that so that others know that they are not alone, Shannon. They know that they are not alone. I've not shared this with you, Shannon, but there is a client of mine who reads your posts as well. And there was a time where when she lost her child, she was going to take her own life. She could not bear the pain of the loss of her child, and she just wanted to die. And I know, Shannon, I don't know you personally, I'm not your therapist, so I'm not divulging anything, but because I know people, I know, Shannon, there was more than likely a time where you just wanted to die too. You just felt like you couldn't fight anymore. It's so common for people who lose a loved one or lose their child in particular. And so for this woman, Shannon, long story short, for this woman, she was reading your posts and feeling inspired and felt like she too could make it through watching you grieve. She decided not to take her life based on reading some of your posts. So you have no idea the amount you're contributing right now. And I have no doubt that you will continue to give exponentially, even when you don't know it. So yes, you are so willing to be open and vulnerable because you desperately know the pain others feel. Yeah, absolutely. And they're not alone. And you're not alone, right? You are not alone. Yes, Shannon, it gives me chills as I share it with you. You are beautiful. You are created beautiful, and God is doing amazing things with you, Shannon, in all of this grief and despair. You're saving lives and you don't even know it. So other questions, other things you want to share tonight? So as you think of your questions, another one that I have is, are my values important in business? Is there a time I should ignore my values? Okay. So, thank you, Shannon. If she chooses to reach out to you, I welcome the conversation. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I know that takes a lot because that's contribution. You're giving back to someone. So thank you. I'll let her know. I appreciate that. So this question is actually about business. Can we separate our business from our core values? When, I remember a long time ago, I was in a business deal with someone who is actually a friend, and I don't recommend this. And she said to me, come on, Christy, it's just business. But I took it so personal, the way she was very conniving and manipulative. It was very difficult. So to me, the friend that I knew for all those years was loyal and had integrity, and she was a woman of God, and she, not that women of God don't sin, because Lord knows I'm a sinner, but she would have made these choices in her personal life. So I couldn't understand why she would make these choices of manipulation and cheating in her business life. And she truly believed that it's a separate persona. She believed in business, you do everything you can to close the deal, to make the sale, even if it means compromising your values. So to answer this question, I believe with my whole heart that in order to be healthy, to be functioning, and to do well in life, your core values must be part of who you are as a person as well as in business. There isn't two different people. There isn't two different people between your personal life and business. You must be the same person. You must hold the same values across both places in your life. The last thing you want to do is have this dissonance where you're two different people or you're torn in two different ways. Yes, Shannon says, I'm no longer willing to separate my values from any choices, relationships, business, or otherwise, and I am blessed tenfold. Absolutely. I agree with you, Shannon. Most recently, I listed my own core values over the last few years and said, when I make a decision, it needs to truly match up with my core values. If it doesn't, I'm not interested. I can't tell you how many people enter my space, whether it's online where they reach out for support or they're a client of mine, who say to me, my life is just a wreck. I don't understand. Can you help me? Can you help me sort through this and get back on the path again? And as we evaluate, we learn that many decisions they're making is against their core values. So, for example, they believe in honesty, yet they chose to lie at work in order to close a deal. Or they chose to lie to their husband about the amount of money they spent at the store, thinking, what's the big deal? It's just a few dollars. Who cares if I lie about it? Or who cares as long as I close the deal? Well, here's the issue. Whenever we compromise our core values, it results in a conflict in our subconscious. And whenever we're feeling conflicted, then we begin to compromise choices across the entire board of our life. It's important, it's essential that you can identify your core values and that each and every decision you make aligns with them. It makes life so simple, like very simple. Shannon says, and it becomes painfully obvious when others are not aligned with my values. It is then that I wish them well with love and blessings. Shannon, what an amazing point. You're absolutely right. So when someone doesn't align with your values, how much time do you spend with them? Are you compromising your own values in order to maintain a friendship? I say no, it's not necessary. This is a big world full of amazing people. There is no reason for you to compromise your values. But what I run into most often is people don't know what their values are. They don't know what they believe in. If we don't know, then there's a loss of identity. Your identity is built on your core values. So take a couple minutes while we're here. Think about, what are your core values? What do you believe in? These should be a marker to make all decisions. So let's just say, for example, when I think about my core values, one of my core values that I've been really working on is integrity. People assume that, gosh, you're a leader, you've got a business, you're a Christian woman, you live a life of integrity. Well, absolutely, I try, right? But I can be sinful at times. I mean, who isn't, right? One of the areas that I struggled in years ago, and still to this day, is every once in a while I will say, yes, I'll go out on Friday with you, and I'll make plans with my girlfriends. Friday comes and I'm like, don't feel like going, and I cancel. I don't lie, I just cancel and say I don't feel like going out. So, I break plans, and I did that for a long time. Part of it was just fear of getting close to other women because of my own issues from the past, fear of trusting women, and the other was just maintaining control of my own life, not wanting to give in to what perhaps they want to do. So there were lots of excuses, but the truth is, in order to live a life of integrity for me, my word has to be golden. My word must have integrity. So I no longer will state something that I will not follow through on. I work on that very hard on a regular basis. If I make a commitment to you, to a business, to a client, if I make a commitment to my family, my children, I follow through. I want each and every person in my life to know that they can count on me, and that even if I feel awful, and I can't compromise myself, right? We still want to take care of ourselves. We don't want to infect anybody if we're sick. But even if I don't feel like going, then I will push through and go. So once I make that commitment, I do everything in my power to maintain that commitment. So integrity is a core value for me. What are some of your core values? Are you willing to share them with us? Give some examples of what you believe in. This week, take the time to identify your core values. Sit down with pen and paper and list, what do I believe in? As you make decisions in life, such as rolling out of bed and coming to work late, is that against your core value? Or are you okay with that? Each time you make a decision against your core value, eats away a little bit at a time at your self-image, eats away at your reputation. So very important. To answer the question in a very long way, I believe our values, what we believe in, need to be consistent across business and our personal life. I do not believe there's a distinction between business and our personal life. A great example for those who are professionals out here and who love to network and want to network in a way that truly allows for exponential growth. I have been part of C-Suite Radio Network and the Hero Club now for a couple of months. I have seen the inside workings of it, and I can tell you, when you look at the Hero Club's website and it talks about the pledge and the mission, the people within the Hero Club who own it, operate it, as well as the members, live by that pledge, by that mission. And that is rare. It is very rare to have a business or a company or many people really who publicize a pledge, who publicize a mission statement, and then live by it. Incredible. So the Hero Club is where I invest my time in business because it aligns with my core values. So that's an example of business aligning with core values. There were other areas of networking that I was doing, other companies that I was part of, members. I was a member for, different memberships, and they didn't align with my core values. And so I have actually discontinued my membership with a lot of different places, a lot of different professional organizations. That's the word I'm looking for. Professional organizations, because they don't align with my core values. I don't want to work or be somewhere where I have to compromise who I am or what I believe. So everybody seems to be a little bit shy tonight. You're not going to share your core values. Not a problem. Maybe you don't know them. But this week, I want you to take time to do that, okay? That's part of the assignment. Jana, I don't know if you came in the room or not, but Jana always asks for assignments. I better write these down. So one of your assignments is identifying your core values, okay? Do I have any paper around here? So you're going to identify core values. All right. So Paula says, I'm a Christian, and so I want to live my life in a manner that aligns with his word. Yeah, same here. As a Christian, it really makes it simple to determine what our core values are. It is like a black and white, right? It's right there. It's biblical. There aren't any question as to, well, what should I do? The ability to have clarity in your decision-making on a daily basis is tremendous freedom. Tremendous freedom. How often do you feel torn about what to do or how to respond to somebody or not respond to somebody? So, people who have core values and who are Christians, it's really easy. It's right there in the Bible. All we have to do is say, okay, how would God respond? And that's what I do. And it keeps us out of trouble. Trust me, it keeps us out of trouble. So thank you so much, Paula. I appreciate that. If you haven't, please share this out. Remember, our highest number of shares is 9. Now, I know we can do better than that. I absolutely know we can do better than that, right? We want everybody to know that every Tuesday night, unless I'm sick, Ask the Therapist Live, where you have the opportunity to ask questions, whether it's about life. I always want to say liberty, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, whether it's about life, marriage, career, sex, parenting, whatever it may be, you have an opportunity to ask. So share this out. Let's exceed the number 9 tonight. Let's make it happen. So many people are cooped up in their houses because, at least in our area, it is storming like crazy. I'm glad to see that it hasn't affected our live either. So please share it out. Other questions that you have. Let me check my social media. I do have more questions that I received as well. So nothing in email. Let's see about Facebook. I did see a few popping up there. I could have sworn. Okay. Not seeing it there. What about LinkedIn? I have been really getting into LinkedIn. How about you guys? Do you guys use LinkedIn much? I have learned some amazing secrets about LinkedIn in the last 6 weeks, and I have really been getting a ton of business from LinkedIn. So those of us in business, please use LinkedIn. All right. So I don't have any questions. Yeah, you too, Denise. Absolutely. LinkedIn's been great. So looking for a job. Denise is looking for a job. We want to pray for Denise as she's searching for a job. There's so many of us out there looking for a job. So totally get it. That is such a stressor. If you have a question, go ahead and put it in the comment section, or you can send it to me privately through text, email, or any of the social media platforms. Before I go on to my next question, I wanted to let you know that I made a massive decision, right? Like here, Christy goes again, making a massive decision. But I made another decision in business that feels incredible, and I want to share it with you. You know, when I was away with the Hero Club for the executive retreat, one of the best experiences I have had, I learned so much professionally and grew personally and met incredible people. But in that, I also learned that, as I shared a little bit ago, I have this fear of pursuing professional speaking full-time for fear that I won't be able to pay the bills with it. But I decided that I am not going to permit fear to dominate my life anymore when it comes to my career. I am done hopping from multiple businesses. I am done creating new businesses. At least today I am, right? Every entrepreneur says that, and that makes me a little nervous. But I have to tell you, I have made the commitment to pursue professional speaking full-time. With that being said, I am no longer doing collaborative divorce work, no longer doing mediation, and no longer offering expert witnessing. I will not be doing anything else in my business with the exception of counseling, seeing clients on a regular basis, because that's my bread and butter, and professional speaking. I will be pursuing professional speaking full time. Yes, Paula. Paula's like, I think you're done, right? I have never been so sure in my life about a professional decision and feeling so convicted that professional speaking is where I need to be. I really believe God called me to speak about suicide prevention and awareness. You know, it's my passion. And I want to take it into corporate and with C-suite executives. I want to be able to go into businesses and talk to them about psychological health, crisis and safety management when it comes to employees and leadership. I think it'll be really powerful. Speaking about suicide prevention and awareness, saving lives is kind of where it's at for me, right? So I am making the commitment to you today. I'm making the commitment to like the world that I want to speak professionally full time, and I want to get paid doing it. So if you know of anybody looking for a speaker, you know where I'm at, right? I love to do it, and I am willing to travel. I'll be speaking at a conference at Penn State next week with Paula. Paula's coming with me. I'll be speaking to the professional activity directors. What is it? Sunday. We'll be gone Sunday through Wednesday. And I'll be speaking on mental health awareness, suicide prevention and awareness to activity directors in nursing homes. Very cool. Great opportunity. I'm so excited. In January, I'll be speaking to the Pennsylvania Bar Association, talking to them about secondary post-traumatic stress disorder. So if your organization or you know of an organization that is willing to deal with this epidemic, I'm your girl. I am your girl, and I can give you a proposal. So I want you to hold me accountable. What is standing in your way from accomplishing your goal? This week, another assignment. I want you to think about what fear stops you from pursuing your goal. I don't say dream because dream sounds too pie in the sky to me. I mean, we all have dreams, but goals are real. Goals are obtainable. When we can identify our goals, we can work it backwards and achieve our goals, right? So what I mean by that, for those of you pursuing a goal, is we identify a goal such as, I want to be a professional speaker. Now I'm going to work it backwards. What are the steps I need to take to accomplish that? Of course, building a brand, identifying my topics, building up my resources, having a website, right? All of those things, networking, identifying what organizations would be willing to hire someone to speak about suicide prevention and awareness. So what is your goal? So this week, I want you to identify your goal. I'm writing it down. Identify your goal and then work it backwards. Okay, so that's going to give you specific steps to accomplish. Okay, so let's look at our next question. Does anybody have a question? We are all here tonight for inspiration and motivation, aren't we? Like I said, it is Tuesday night. Oh, my nose is so itchy tonight. Tuesday night, Ask the Therapist Live, where you have the opportunity to ask a question, any question I want you to ask. If I don't know, I'll find the answer for you. And we have an opportunity just to come together as a tribe to support, care, love one another, remind each other that we are not alone, that life can be so difficult. Life can be difficult, but we don't have to be by ourselves. We know that we have incredible people. If you look to the right on your comment section, it's on my right, might be your left. Anyways, look at the people in this room. These are incredible people. These are people that some I've known a lifetime, and they are so committed to loving and caring and helping people. It's unbelievable. There are other people in this room that I don't even know personally. I don't know personally, but here's what I can tell you. The type of people that come into my space are incredible, loving, and kind people. They are givers. So please always remember, you are never alone in any of your life struggles. I was just reading that people who die by suicide, of those people, 45% do not have an identified mental health disorder. So 45% of people who died by suicide in 2017 did not have an identified well, I don't know what, I just got this crazy message. Y'all can see me? I just got a crazy message saying that it was going to kick me off. Anyways, it says reload site. 45% did not have a diagnosed mental health issue. So what that says to me is so many people are struggling out there and not reaching out and getting the support that they need. Family members are saying, I have no idea. I had no idea. It's happening time and time again. So again, that tells me that there are people who are struggling silently, and are not getting the help that they want or they need, not want, they need. So to me, that's just startling, right? That's just startling. Thank you, Paula. I don't know why I keep getting these messages. Prevent this page from creating additional dialogues. Cancel, reload. I don't know why it's doing that. I'm afraid to hit reload. So I'm just hitting cancel and it keeps popping up. All right, next question. All right. How do you figure out success? How do you figure out what success is to me? How do I figure out what success is to me? So this person is asking about success in multiple ways. They're really playing with what is success? How do we define success in our lives? How do you define success in your life? What is it that tells you, yes, I've been successful? Society tells us, right? Society tells us it's money. That money is a measure of success. Material items are a measure of success. Again, I'm not going to tell you it's wrong. I'm going to ask you, what is your measurement for success? Is it fortune? Is it fame? Some believe it's either one or the other. But I'm here to argue that perhaps it's not either of those. What is success? I can tell you that what we get tripped up in, right? Like I get tripped up in wanting money. Absolutely. Who doesn't want money, right? You want to be able to pay the bills. Fame. Some people say, well, I don't like to be the center of attention. I don't like to be the center of attention. When I go into a room, you don't see me dominating the center. I'm on the edges of the wall, right? Like observing, learning who people are, watching behavior before I go in and even make conversation. But this, live like this is my element. Is it because I like to be the center of attention? I don't know. Some could argue that, right? But for me, this isn't about fame. Now, Paula and I just had this conversation recently where I was really caught up in fame, not necessarily being popular, but having influence, having large masses of influence. And can you have influence and not have fame? It's a good question. Or do you have to be famous to have influence? I don't think so. I think that we can each have influence regardless of being famous. But when I say influence, I want to have global influence. Like, that's my goal. My goal to speak professionally is to speak to the masses, right? To have global influence. I want that because I'm so desperate to save lives. I'm so desperate to be, to be on that stage and explain to people how valuable they are. So for me, it's about influence. What is success for you? Success could be perhaps you've led people to Christ, and that is success. Who can argue that, right? Perhaps it's money. So how do you determine what success is for you? Well, interestingly, you can say to yourself, what do I feel the most insecure about? Perhaps squelching that insecurity is success. Or perhaps, success is your ability just to get out of bed. I think it's different for each person. So to answer your question, figuring out success takes us back to our core values, right? When we know our core values, then we can define success. Success for me, to be measurable, one success could be speaking on stage. Another success could be influence, right? Having that influence. Another success could be raising 2 children that stay out of jail, right? That may be important to me. I would think it's important to us, right? But that doesn't mean if your child goes to jail, you're not successful. That happens, or maybe success is my ability to get a good night's rest. So at the end of the day, how do you define success? Look at your core values, and that's success. Success is measurable most often to people. We want to know we're moving towards success, but what it is different for each and every one of us. There is no right or wrong answer, but you will find it in your own identity, and you will find it in really your core values. I often preach about giving back, contributing, serving. To me, success is teaching you, your friends, your neighbors, how valuable you are to me, how valuable you are to this world. To me, that's the greatest success, is to let you know that you are loved no matter what, that God loves you no matter what, that you have a safe place. To me, that's success. When you know your value, I am dancing in the streets. I'm dancing in the streets. Other questions, other things you'd like to discuss tonight? Believe it or not, I actually thought about discussing the top news stories for the week. But then I started looking at the top news stories, and I realized that I don't watch the news ever, so I actually couldn't really talk about it intelligently. So I chose not to go that route. I know, shame on me, I should watch the news, but quite frankly, it's exhausting and negative. And the last thing I need to do is get caught up in that. For me, it just doesn't work. I don't want to be pulled down by the news. I can remember whenever the towers were hit for 9/11, I know exactly where I was. I'm sure you know where you were too. I didn't even watch the news then. I was watching Teletubbies with my daughter. She was that little, and I was watching Teletubbies, and my mom called me and said, "You've got to turn off Teletubbies. Like, this awful thing has happened." So I don't watch the news. Therefore, we're not talking about news stories tonight. Not my forte. And I'm okay with that. I think we can get too much news, right? Next question. I am the mother of a 9-month-old, 9-month-old, 3-year-old, and 5-year-old. Okay, so this lady has 3 children, 9, 9-month-old, 3-year-old, and 5-year-old. I feel like I never have time to myself. I feel like I'm going to lose my mind. Any suggestions? Oh, sweetie, we've all been there. Absolutely, right? Like, first and foremost, let's normalize it. Us mamas, us dads, yeah, when there's multiple children and you've got 3 under 5, you feel like you're going to lose your mind. Yes, we've all been there. I hate to tell you, but it gets worse. Some will say it's worse when they're teenagers. It's been challenging, but I still would prefer a teen over little ones. That's just not me. They're cute, but I like to give them back. But yes, it's absolutely normal for you to feel overwhelmed and chaotic when it comes to raising children. You feel like you're cooped up at home. If you are a stay-at-home mom, you are like amazing. You're my hero if you're a stay-at-home mom, because that's tough. You know, I stayed at home for a little bit and then I went back to work because I was losing my mind at home. But I get that being a working mom, it's equally difficult, but just in different ways, right? So what I'm going to say to you, you feel like you never have time for yourself and you feel like you're going crazy. Any suggestions? Please do not lose your identity in your children. If you were a stay-at-home mom and you're raising small children, God bless you. That's amazing. That's amazing. What a gift. But I also want you to take care of yourself. That means being able to elicit a babysitter. My mom, what a blessing she was. She came over once a week and said, I'm taking the kids once a week. And she would take the children from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. once a week. And it gave me some breathing room where I felt like I wasn't going crazy. And I felt like I could have a life and have some friends and do things for myself. So I'm really going to encourage young moms of all ages, dads of all ages, please do something for yourself. Take time out each week, even though you feel like you can't, because there's laundry and housework and kids pulling on you and spouses. Just take a deep breath because you want to care about yourself, right? We know the suicide rate for women has increased by 55% since 1999. We have seen such an increase in women dying by suicide, not because men are doing it less, because women are doing it more. So we need you. We need you to take care of yourself, to recognize the signs of postpartum depression, recognize the signs of being stressed, allow people to help you. I'll never forget, in my first book, it was a compilation, and I wrote a chapter about the shame I felt asking for help. I felt such shame, like, why can't I do this on my own? Well, you know why you can't do it on your own? Because you weren't supposed to. God called us into communities to help one another, support one another. So allow people to help you, my friend. Allow people to come alongside you and support you. Get involved in things like MOPS. MOPS is Mothers of Preschoolers. There are other programs that you can get involved in to get you out of the house, right? There are childcare services. If finances are a problem, look at something like MOPS, because when you build relationships, or people in the church, when you build those intimate relationships, people are more than happy to help you. And you need to get that help to feel like you're not going to lose your mind and you don't move into this place of depression or sadness, irritability, anger that's beyond normal. So my suggestion to you is, first and foremost, identify that support system. Remind yourself that you are totally kicking butt, that you're a great mom, and that everybody's going through what you go through. It's not easy. It's very difficult to raise children. One of the most difficult jobs you will ever have. So give yourself some kudos, right? And then give yourself some grace. Find that support system, get out there and do something. If you're married or have a partner, I want you to ask your partner for some time too, right? Ask your partner for an evening to go and exercise or to go out with your friends. Get involved in your community outside of your children. The stronger your own identity is, the more sane that you will feel. So I hope that has helped. That's a great question. We all go through that, right? We all go through that time where it's very stressful. If we have children, very stressful. If we don't have children, and instead our animals are our children, they are quite demanding as well, right? They need attention and love, and we need to be sure we're caring for them too. We don't want to lose our mind caring for our pets. I can tell you with Paisley, just one little puppy, sometimes I feel like I'm going to lose my mind. She doesn't sleep at night. It's crazy. So I hope that helps. Other questions, other concerns, other things that you wanted to talk about tonight. My goodness, we are already at 1 hour. Isn't that crazy? It has gone so fast tonight. Doesn't it always go so fast? Okay, I'm not seeing anything on social media. Let me share with you, before our next question, another really cool thing that I have for you. This week, by the end of this week, if not sooner, I am going to be launching a new website. It's just a real overhaul of my current website. You're going to see it go from this pretty colors and, you know, it's soft and warm. You're going to see it go much more to strength, empowerment. You know, the colors are red, black, and white rather than, you know, pretty grays and blues and purples. You're seeing a complete shift of my business. Again, still seeing counseling patients, counseling clients, but you're going to see the really hitting home. But what else you're going to see is a professional speaking. What else you're going to see, and why I'm telling you this, is the podcast. The podcast was rebranded, right? Revolutionary Leaders. You will be able to listen to the podcast right on my website. It is gorgeous. I found a new platform for the podcast, and it is just beautiful. It is click and listen. But what I love about it is I now have an active blog. I know, right? I have tried to do a blog so many times, and I always lose it. But let me tell you, for every podcast you listen to, there are show notes. What are show notes? They are the coolest things ever. Show notes are a summary of the podcast with a mantra for you, weekly challenges for you, as well as links for additional resources to support you. How cool is this? So every single week at 3 p.m. on Wednesdays, a new podcast will be released with show notes. And each week you have an opportunity to interact with other people in our community on the blog as well as myself. So if you're participating in the show notes and you are listening to the podcast, learning, growing, you and I will be in contact throughout the week. Like, how cool is that? An opportunity for you to grow personally, professionally, without paying a dime. But I'm asking you to invest in yourself. Come along on this journey with me. The platform is the same. I interview incredible people who've been through mental health struggles, whether it's anxiety, depression, bipolar disorder, borderline, or perhaps it's suicidal ideation or an attempt of suicide. And now they're living a life of joy. And you get to hear all the inside trader secrets, all the inside secrets on the podcast of Revolutionary Leader. So when it is released, I will let you know. You'll be the first to know, and it's going to happen in the next couple of days. So I worked on it all day today. So really, really excited about that. Excited about the podcast. And if you want to be interviewed, remember, there's always an invitation. Reach out to me. Sign up to be interviewed on the podcast. I would love for you to be a part of it. So very cool stuff. Next question, because I do have another question and I don't want to leave this person hanging. Let's see. This is a tough one. So my mother is aging and it's time to remove the keys. She's no longer safe to drive. What do I say? How do I do this? I feel awful. Okay, so many of us are dealing with aging parents or have dealt with aging parents in the past. This particular person is at that place where her mother is no longer safe to drive and she's not sure how to do this. You know, I know there's some of you out here who have already done it. What was that experience like for you? What did you feel emotionally about that experience? What did you say? How did you handle it? You know, this can be a very difficult task for children to do when it's time to take away the keys. So what I say, you know, and I've said in the past, is instead of looking at it like you are taking away their independence, which is how they feel, and I'm empathetic, but also it's about helping them be safe, right? We want them to be safe. We want everybody else on the road to be safe. And I know it's complicated, but oftentimes people will do things like when they have to go to the doctors, their parent has to go to the doctors, and the doctor can do an evaluation and be a mediator so that it doesn't create tension within the family. Another option is having that conversation, being honest with your parent and asking them, how are they feeling about their ability to drive? You know, whenever you're able to have those honest emotional conversations that are real, they may be willing to admit that there's a struggle and that, yes, perhaps it is time, but what are the accommodations? You know, I don't think it's wise to remove the keys unless you've got a solution, right? What is your solution to transportation? The last thing you want to do is isolate them further than what they already feel. Is it going to be family taking turns? Is it going to be a public service? Do they live somewhere that offers transportation? So be sure when you have this conversation that there's a solution. And I want you to also validate how they feel. Can you imagine someone removing your keys? What that would be like? And we rely on our ability to go when we want to go, to be able to drive. How would that feel? Be empathetic. And instead of angry or frustrated or irritated with a parent who is aging, be respectful. Have the conversation before it absolutely has to happen. Talk about transitioning to it and what it looks like. You know, there are lots of different ways to have this conversation, and I have good faith that this person in particular actually knows how to have it. It's just, you don't want to have it. It's just a really difficult conversation to have. But in the end, we know that it's for the best and it's for the safety of the individual. If there's others of you who've done this out there, please don't hesitate to share with us what you have done to be able to remove the keys from someone. All right, so I am attempting to scroll and I am not able to scroll. Oh, there we go. Okay, so I don't see any additional questions. I don't see anything else. All right. Does anybody else have any questions before we wrap up? I got to all the questions that I had over the week. So I don't have any more. Do you have any more questions? Oh my goodness, it was an amazing night. Thank you so much. Where's our book? All right. So remember, you have homework this week. So your homework this week is to identify your core values. What do you believe in? In order to have clarity and peace and joy in life, you must be able to identify your core values and make all decisions from that place. So when you're making a decision, you're simply pivoting from your core values. This week, I want you to identify them. If you would like, please share them with me. You can message me or you can send them via text, whatever works for you. Okay, so share with me your core values, or at least identify. Take the time to do that so you have clarity, peace, and joy in your life in making decisions. Second is I want you to identify a goal that you have that fear has stood in the way. What is something that you want to achieve that fear has stood in the way? And I want you to work it backwards. What are the steps to work it backwards to make it happen? Okay, I want you to break it down for me. Identify that goal. Together, we are going to accomplish our goals. It helps to have someone accountable. That's why I told you what my goal was. I want you to help me be accountable. I want you to help me network, right? You know, just as when you share your goal with me, I can help you accomplish your goal. That's what we are, a community, right? So that is your assignment. And the big, huge deal is the podcast is being released with the screen notes where you'll be able to follow along and grow and develop personally through the blog on my new website, which will be coming out by the end of this week. All right, so next Tuesday, Paula and I will be in Penn State. Her and I are going to the Professional Activities Conference, and I'm speaking. So we will be there, but Paula, I think we should try to go live anyways. I think that we should plan to go live next Tuesday from Penn State. Perhaps we'll pick a really cool location and go live so that we don't miss out on this incredible connection, right? All right, let's do it. Oh, this is very appropriate for what we were talking about. All right, the other side of fearlessness, is fear. The other side of strength is fragility. The other side of power is faith. The other side of fearlessness is fear. The other side of strength is fragility. The other side of power is faith. We are talking in my Bible study every Thursday morning about faith and living confidently with faith. Today we talked about releasing our fears to achieve our goals. What an incredible evening it was with each and every one of you. So if you are a professional and you are looking to grow your business exponentially, reach out to me. I would love for you to be a part of the Hero Club. Jeff Hazlett is an amazing mentor. He is an amazing leader, and his Hero Club is truly very cutting edge and solidified in integrity, and I would love for you to be a part of that with me. So if you have interest, just reach out to me and we'll talk about what that means. If you have a podcast or a television show and you have a desire to grow bigger, talk to me about that too. C-Suite Radio Network, where my podcast is hosted, helps you grow your business exponentially. And I absolutely love the leadership there too. So as always, I say to you, I love you. I adore you. I cherish you. I value you. Each and every day I rise to serve you. Each and every day I am humbled and blessed to be a part of your life. I believe I am called to serve each and every one of you, whether it's here on Ask the Therapist Live, in my office space, professionally speaking, networking, helping you achieve your goals, your dreams, and teaching you that you are precious. You are valuable. There is no one on this earth like you. You, my friend, are unique, and God created you that way. There is a purpose for you that you have no idea, or perhaps you do. Regardless, His plan is incredible, and I want to be there as you live it out, as you grow, as you struggle, as you achieve. Because I believe in you. I believe in who you were, because that's part of who you are, and I believe in who you will be. So with all of my heart, with all of the joy you bring me each and every week, you are never, ever alone. This world needs you. I rise to save lives. How about you? Thank you again for allowing me to be a part of your life for an hour each week as we share our thoughts, our ideas, and support one another. I am blessed by each and every one of you. Good night, my dear friends. I love you.